I used to hate math when I was growing up. I specifically hated arithmetic with how you're just supposed to calculate things using arithmetical operations. I could never see a point to it since you could just use a calculator for everything. I still sort of feel that way, by the way, but then again, I like actual math, not stuff that we have made machines for. I still got okay grades without studying, but I can't say I ever enjoyed math for the first 7-ish years of school. I really just hated how formulaic everything was. There was always a formula for everything and you just had to use it to figure out the answer. There was no deeper exploration, it just felt cut and dry. It wasn't until I started learning algebra when things really started to get interesting. I hear a lot of people complain about algebra because of how hard it is, but for me, it's the first time math started to become interesting. It was really mind-blowing to me, the fact that you could figure out what some unknown number was equal to by merely rearranging the equation. Math started seeming like something that was about real problem solving and critical thinking. Ever since I started learning about algebra, I started studying it a lot. Around the same time, I started to learn about basic kinematics in physics, like free fall. This was the first time I learned that math could be used to actually predict the future, like actually predict how long it will take for an object to hit the ground after being dropped from a certain height. This was the beginning of when I started studying physics all the time. I would mainly watch Organic Chemistry Tutor and Khan Academy around this time. I was still pretty bad at math, but at least I finally noticed a point to it. It was no longer about doing meaningless calculations of areas and volumes that meant nothing to me. It was about being able to predict the future. And that was the initial spark that fueled my will to start studying both math and physics religiously. I would go home after school and just look up math and physics videos. I would solve basic kinematics problems like the ones that involved conservation of momentum. This really is what sparked my interest in physics. It wasn't the black holes or quantum mechanics, it was just basic kinematics. And later on, I just started becoming more and more obsessed with math and physics. I would solve random problems in class all the time, even in classes that had nothing to do with math or physics. It would upset my teachers every time, though it was really noticeable, but I just didn't care. I just couldn't stop doing math and physics problems. Eventually, I started to get really far ahead of my class, that the stuff that we would cover in class would just seem incredibly boring. This makes me think that everyone has that initial spark in some subject just waiting to be discovered. See, after I found my obsession, I never wanted to do anything not related to that obsession. I could write extremely long documents talking about some topic from this obsession and derive equations because it was fun to do so. If I was told to do something related to British literature or something, I would just not want to do it. That's not to say that it sucks, it's just interesting to see how different other people can be. This is really reminiscent of that, like, I guess, quote, "Everybody's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it'll live its entire life believing that it is stupid." Everyone is good at something, they just need to figure out what that thing is. Sometimes I wish I'd realized that math and physics was my thing earlier. If that had happened, who knows how much better I could be at that stuff. It's kind of frustrating, but at the same time, I'm not sure how else I could have discovered this. In order for someone to know that I would find algebra cool and show it off to me, they would have needed to know that I would even find math interesting in the first place. But I never was interested in math before this, so it would kind of be an impossible task. This is why I think it's important to explore a lot of different things. It's to finally find that interest that you can't live without. Having said that, I'm not really sure what kind of job I want. I want to work at something related to theoretical physics because it's the type of stuff I enjoy most, but I'm not certain on precisely the kind of job that would suit me. See, I don't really like experimental physics that much. I'm more interested in being able to model the real world using math. I also just like pure math because that side of mathematical formalism is what I find really interesting about math. But I'm also interested in being part of a community. I enjoy playing video games. I enjoy hearing other people's perspectives on certain things. I enjoy telling and teaching people about stuff that interests me. That's why I started this channel. I have some ideas for projects I want to do and make videos about, but I just don't have them fully planned out yet. I'm in first year of college right now, majoring in something very much related to physics, but I'm not sure this major is for me. I picked a local university since I thought it would be more convenient and less risky that way, but they don't really have a regular physics program. The closest thing they have is a program related to just nanotechnology. On top of that, I realized majoring in something like this means doing a lot of lab works, which I just don't enjoy at all. I really just like learning the math of physics, solving physics problems, and learning about the different ways to view reality with the use of fundamental equations. And it is because of that why I feel as though I should maybe just switch to becoming a math major, since that would just allow me to study something I love without forcing me to do things I don't particularly enjoy, namely experimental physics. I also want to teach people about this stuff on the internet, and a major reason as to why is because math is very much hated by the global population. Maybe it's because of how it's taught, but most people seem to find math extremely difficult and pointless. Whenever we'd get tests, my classmates would seem to prefer any other test over a math test. For me, it was always the opposite. I would stress over most tests because I would always find it difficult to study for them. But whenever I got a math test, I wouldn't have a worry in the world. I wouldn't even have to study for them since I would have already learned about the topic long ago. A lot of people seem to have math as one of their most hated subjects, which is a shame, but also something I don't fully understand since, again, it's the other way around for me. It also sucked for me because back when I was in high school, I was a very introverted person. I still am to some degree, but not as much as back then. Back then, starting a conversation often felt like pulling teeth. I would just quietly hope that the classmate who was having trouble with something would just ask me about it, but that would rarely ever happen. I really wanted to teach everyone how interesting math can be, but I just never could because I didn't have the courage. That's why I hope to start doing that here. I'm also thinking about making videos where I debunk people like flat earthers. I think that could be fun. I want to make videos where I create cool stuff. There's a lot I want to do with this channel, so I really hope I don't give up on that stuff. Because, see, I think everyone should chase their goals and their dream job. I feel like a major point to life is truly finding the life you want to live and living it, since if you don't, then what's the point, you know? You only get one shot with a limited amount of time at this life, so you better make it count. And I want to pursue my goals even if it all just seems impossible. Even then I could say I tried. I'm not sure about what steps I'm even supposed to take to achieve those goals, but I'm going to try what I can. Anyway, if you enjoyed this little rant, consider leaving this video a like. And if you do want to see some stuff that I mentioned in this rant, consider subscribing. Yeah, that's gonna be about it for this video. All right, bye.